The current corona pandemic across the world has thrown gigantic challenge to the humanity. It is a challenge not only to the medical profession but also to the medical expert, technical wizards, and even the political leadership of the various countries. There is a marked difference in which this pandemic is being handled in different parts of the world. If you look at the European countries and the United States of America, they are all way ahead of India as far as medical facilities are concerned. They are also highly advanced in terms of management expertise, technical know-how, and in fact, you name a resource they have is much more than a country like India. Further, their population is much less, and also their literacy levels are much higher. The civic sense of the citizens in these countries is also considered at a much higher level compared to the Asian and African countries. They also are very rich countries with much higher GDPs. But still, their handling of corona has been far from satisfactory. The number of casualties these countries like United States of America, Spain, Italy, France, United Kingdom, Germany, and many more speak a lot about their mishandling of this grave challenge to the humanity. All these countries, despite their abundance of resources and medical facilities, failed to manage the crisis. They were caught off guard. They reacted too late, and that too at a slow pace. They ignored the writing on the wall. Majority of them were confident that Wuhan will never happen to them. It seems that their leadership was confused for quite some time. And some of them are confused till today, having lost thousands of lives to this tiny monster, the so-called virus COVID-19. To me, it seems they lack confidence, they lack conviction, and they lack the concern for their own people. There is no dearth of medical, technical, and managerial expertise in these countries, but I think it's a failure of their leadership. On the other hand, performance of India has been extremely well. It has been applauded all over the world. Our leadership took timely action. We imposed lockdown all over the country well in time. India had only one testing lab in the month of January, and by 26 April, we had more than 300, and that continues to be increasing. We were the first country to evacuate about 700 plus students from Wuhan, the epicenter of the epidemic. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has emerged as the consensus global leader of the world in its fight against this coronavirus. I think Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi demonstrated leadership at lightning speed. Janta curfew, followed by complete lockdown, paid the dividends, simultaneously ramping up production of indigenous testing kits, masks, sanitizers, PPEs, etc. on a war footing, enabled to cope up with the exponential increase of demand. Imports of these essential items were also cleared at a very fast pace to bridge the gap between the demand and the production. He was the first one to plead for global collaboration with SAARC level meetings and then G20 level meetings. I think his priorities were very, very clear. His statement, "Jaan hai to jahan hai," was very apt, which means life is most important. If you are alive, only then the whole world is there for you. Otherwise, nothing is worth it. It is the complete lockdown since 25th March 2020 that kept corona cases least in the world, despite a spike of some cases by Tablighi Jamaat followers and their non-cooperation in containing this pandemic. There are anti-social and anti-establishment people in every country all over the world. Even in US, there are a large sections of the society questioning the logic of lockdown, despite the maximum number of deaths in that particular country in the world. The problems in India were nowhere less. Sustenance of the daily wage earners was the biggest problem. Many of them came on the roads to go back to their villages despite non-availability of buses and trains. But Indian people have always demonstrated their love for their country during such calamities. Thousands of community kitchens came up all overnight. Those who had the provisions to cook were provided with dry ration kits. Barring one or two states, all states of India have demonstrated great leadership qualities, and they have done an excellent job in fighting this Chinese virus, the corona COVID-19. Our police force also have demonstrated a professional approach during this calamity. Their determination and dedication in discharging their duties has to be praised. They distributed food also to the hungry, medicines to the sick, and ensured supply of essential commodities wherever was required. And some places, they even sang songs in the streets to spread awareness, and wielded their batons also judiciously wherever some mischief mongers wanted to defy the lockdown. Do you realize that in the post-independence history of India, it is the first time that there is a calamity of such a large scale, such a large magnitude, and there was no need to deploy Indian army to contain the crisis. So that goes a big applaud for the Indian police force in all the states. Well done, Indian police force. The doctors, medical staff, and our Safai Karamcharis in government hospitals have always faced criticism, but their devotion to their duty during such difficult times deserves all the applause. They deserve salute from the Indian masses, and the Indian public was in the forefront when they clapped, rang bells, or the thalis from their balconies all over India to express their gratitude for all these corona fighters. They also lit candles for evening to dispel darkness, symbolizing the victory of light over darkness. As a proud Indian, I feel we worked like a well-oiled machinery. It has been like a teamwork. Everyone pitched in the way he or she could contribute. Some came up with improved ventilator designs. Some designed highly cost-effective corona testing kits. Masks were produced in crores. PPE kit manufacturing units sprang up overnight, keeping sufficient reserves of HCQ and other medicines for India. The balance was exported world over, earning goodwill from all over the world. At the same time, earning foreign exchange also for India. I feel India will prove to be a clear winner against our fight against this corona when compared with all the other developing or underdeveloped countries of the world. The current corona calamity handling calls for VUCA leadership qualities. VUCA Leadership. Yes, I'm sure many of you must have heard this term that was coined by the US Army War College in late 1990s to describe the war scenario in which military operations have to be executed. The term has been subsequently used in management philosophy too to describe for the current environment. V stands for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, and A for ambiguity. So, a VUCA leader is one who is able to sail smoothly even through rough weather with his competence, confidence, conviction, and commitment. The current corona pandemic perfectly fits into the definition of VUCA environment, VUCA. So remember, even if you have plenty of resources but poor management and leadership, you are bound to suffer. On the other hand, if you have limited resources but highly experienced and dedicated management led by a great leader who is able to inspire, energize, and empower his teams, you are bound to succeed. So that is what is happening during this corona fight, that a country like India is leading the fight against corona worldwide, and we have set an example for all the developed countries even. Thank you very much.